And so please describe to me what the aesthetic look is exactly.
Well, like this guy here.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and bring
Oh wow, you really have to come in here?
like this guy.
Is this
No,
is this really happening? He met the other guy behind you, bro. Like I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm right into that bad boy.
You can stay right there, behind the camera, behind the camera. No, see now that you got me jealous now.
That's okay.
That's not
no,
fair.
but you're more in the category like Luther Arnold. Okay?
My man.
Okay.
Yeah. Arnold Ferrigno. Huh?
Okay.
Aesthetic. That's great, partner. You two ever go out place everything in its proper place?
That does not make sense, but we usually do go. We head to Kroger's, and we work.
Oh, yeah. I've got a lady waiting for me back home also. She has the most beautiful scrotum. Oh, God. And when she sings, she sounds just like a puppy dog. How do you nail a photo?
Just gotta get in the mode. You gotta talk with your eyes.
Talk with your eyes.
Talk with your eyes. You
Okay,
gotta
so
have the eyes
can
first.
you show me a little bit of something, like to this camera? I would love to know how to do this. I just want to know.
Well,
How
I
do you do it?
mean,
Teach
the
me
smile,
something.
You can get the sexy eyes. Then you know you gotta get the smile. Smile going on some shoes, but you know.
Wait, hold up.
You got.
I gotta
when
try
it's
this
time,
with
when,
you.
it, when it's
Hold
time
on.
to laugh,
I gotta try
you
this
gotta
with
think
you.
of something funny
All right,
and start laughing.
do it again. Do it again. How do you do it? Teach me.
Sexy eyes.
The sexy eye.
This is sexy eyes right here.
Smizing?
Smile.
So you're smizing.
Smile.
Okay.
And then you gotta get the.
No, I look like I need to take a poop or something.
Wish words were like little toy guns. No sting, no hurt, no one, just a bang, bang. Right?
Is that it?
Yeah, it's something like that. Just a bang,
Toy
bang,
guns.
rolling off your tongue.
Toy guns.
It's no smoke, no
Bang, bang.
bullets.
Water guns. All right.
Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Pascal Show. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I hope you guys are having a terrific Tuesday. It is Tuesday, y'all. Tuesday morning in my neck of the woods. Tuesday morning. So I hope you guys are all having a wonderful one and enjoying your time right now. The thing is, since this is a very short week for the show and everything, there's a lot that's been going on as of late. Just a lot of entertainment news, a lot of ridiculousness. We're going to be covering a whole bunch of stuff today. We got a very interesting piece of conversation that we're going to be having for our Speak On It question of the day later on in this show. So be sure to get your fingers ready to dial that phone number to be a part of the conversation so we can hear your 2 cents on the show. And of course, we will be doing, just a full-on reminder, we will be doing a hangout after the show. So an after show hangout on Twitch right after this show. We'll be on there for a good 30 minutes hanging out, chopping it up, taking other phone calls, hanging out with you guys. So we will be on Twitch. Again, we will be on Twitch today right after our show. I mean, literally, we're going to end this show and start a brand new one, but it's only going to be on Twitch. Twitch hangout, the full-on after show hangout is only going to be on Twitch. So I just wanted to remind you guys of that real quick. So if you can, please go real quick, hop over to Twitch, twitch.tv/The Pascal Show. All right. And hit that follow button and join our conversation over there because we are going to be talking about all kinds of stuff. All the things that we've discussed over here. We're going to be taking phone calls from you. Maybe if you guys want a video chat and get, so we can see your faces, you could do that as well. It should be a very, very good time. So be sure to jump on the Twitch, join the Twitch page so that when we go over there, you could be right there with us in our conversation, okay? I mean, it's going to be a clean cut here, and then we hop right over and we'll be right on Twitch within minutes of closing this show right here on YouTube. Okay? So I just wanted to give you guys a quick heads up about that. All right? But before we jump into everything, my brother, hold up, I forgot to do this. Hold on. My brother David is in the house. What's up, man?
And not much. Just spent most of this morning trying to get this computer to work, as you saw. So sorry to everyone for the bad lighting in the back, but I don't want to unplug it again in case it doesn't start up, which is the problem I was having.
Yes, yes. No, it's all good, man. And the thing is that if Ish hits the fan here, if he suddenly just disappears on us, just so you guys know, it's his computer. He's having some technical issues, technical difficulties. You know what I'm saying? And you know, we are going to be talking about a whole bunch of stuff. I see the Pioneers already ready to jump into the Dwyane Wade conversation, and that's going to be our Speak On It segment for the day, for our question of the day. So we will be talking it up here in a little while, talking about this whole Dwyane Wade situation, because it is very interesting. But I want to hear from men and from the women in regards to this particular beta male debate. Let's just say that, okay? But we do have a bunch of stuff that we got to talk about, okay? So, you know, of course, David, his computer's being a little funky with him, so hopefully everything will run just fine. Everything will run smoothly. But before we jump into the conversation, before we go into the news and all that stuff, and you know, we got some big trending stories. We got some controversial things that are popping off. We got some body cam footage that I still can't believe that it even happened. And of course, we got our big topic of the day, which we're going to be talking about, our Speak On It question of the day. We will be talking about here in a little while, which I find very fascinating because I've been doing my research. I've been looking at other people's conversations about this piece, and it's very, very interesting. But before we jump into all that, please hit that like button, get those likes all the way up. You know what I'm saying? That really helps the show, helps with the algorithm, helps the show get out there to as many people as we can get it out to. So if you can, please crush that like button down below. That would really, really mean a lot. Anyway, we got to jump into the stories of the day. There's one that's not on the titles here, which I found very, very weird. Personally, it is a very strange little story, but we're gonna look at this real quick, and it goes a little something like this: a woman is fired after video shows her inside a Texas zoo's spider monkey habitat. Yeah, I still don't get it. I don't know why people want to go and hang out. I still don't understand why people want to go and hang out in a zoo with a whole bunch of monkeys, like inside. I still want to know how she got in this piece in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Usually I see, you know, monkey habitats and all that stuff. Aren't they supposed to be like like glassed, like a big old glass cage? You know what I'm saying? Like an encased area, because monkeys are crazy. And I've heard stories of people getting their faces just ripped clean off, y'all. Clean off. Okay? So, from a monkey, okay, that's having a really bad day. Let's just say that, okay? So, a woman seen on video inside a spider monkey enclosure at the El Paso Zoo has since been fired from her job. The video was recorded May 22nd. It shows a woman walking through knee-deep water and reportedly trying to feed the monkeys junk food. I'm sorry. The zoo's director described what the woman did as stupid. Yeah. Duh. Okay? Stupid. Okay? A spokeswoman for the El Paso Police Department said what she did was absolutely moronic and illegal behavior. That person is a future lawyer. That's what I think. That's some Esquire words right there. Absolutely moronic and illegal behavior. Okay? These are primates we're talking about. They could do some substantial damage to you. Like I said, the zookeeper said this. Mason Cleast said this. They may be small monkeys, but they can take you. They can take you to the ground if they wanted to. In addition to putting herself in danger, the zoo said the woman put the monkeys in danger too. They are fed a specialized diet So giving them foreign food could have caused significant stomach problems. I didn't know that they were keto. I didn't know monkeys were on keto, or like, I'm gluten free. Like, can you imagine those primates, just coming up, the spider monkeys going, oh no, sorry, I'm gluten free, or I'm vegan. I'm sorry, I'm vegan. Is that
brain
what is
doesn't
that?
seem vegan.
Like, ridiculous, y'all. Ridiculous. Okay, we got a little news clip that I want to show you guys, so we can see this idiot in action, because this is stupid. This is very stupid. As they said, moronic and illegal behavior. Okay, so let's check this out.
To believe we're discussing yet another incident like this one. The zoo calling that woman's actions stupid. That video now part of an ongoing investigation.
This morning, authorities in Texas are looking for this woman, seen entering a spider monkey enclosure at the El Paso Zoo this weekend, getting close to the animals, even trying to feed them junk food before climbing back out.
These are primates we're talking about here, so they can do some substantial damage to you. They're stronger than they look. They may be small monkeys, but they are extremely strong. They could take you to the ground if they wanted to.
The zoo's director calls the woman stupid and lucky, saying she put herself and the monkeys at risk.
We turned it over to the police department. They're doing an investigation, obviously, talking to the district attorney about what charges can be filed, and we're going to obviously pursue that to the fullest extent of the law.
Yeah. Remember this idiot? He crawled underneath the cage into the elephant habitat, you know what I'm saying? With his child. Yeah. This actually happened just a few months ago, too. Idiots.
The incident, just the latest close encounter with zoo animals caught on camera.
Dropped
In
his
March,
child.
a father was arrested after carrying his 2-year-old son into an elephant enclosure at the San Diego Zoo. And in 2016, this incident at the Cincinnati Zoo drawing worldwide attention after a 3-year-old boy fell into the gorilla enclosure. Zookeepers forced to shoot and kill the rare silverback named Harambe to rescue the child safely.
Nobody remembers all the racist jokes that came from the Harambe situation? I do.
Yeah, I do.
That was ridiculous, right?
People just have this misguided impression that these animals, because they're in zoos, are not wild animals. And when something like this happens, it can cause tremendous stress in that animal. And at the end of the day, it could cause a conflict that is going to end up making the animal the bad guy.
Yeah.
And that law firm where the woman allegedly works says she has been terminated. The El Paso Zoo says they may have to put up higher fences around this exhibit so this doesn't happen again.
You know, the thing is hell yeah, you get fired, you dumbass. Like, you're an idiot. Who does that?
Yeah.
Who goes and says, hey, I'm going to put myself in harm's way? Like, clearly you are not thinking, you are not a thoroughly thought out human being. Okay, that move of you wanting to be with the primates and hang out, you know what I mean? You know, it's like Mighty Joe Young or whatever the movie is. Remember the movie with the Charlize Theron and the big ass gorilla? Isn't it Mighty Joe or Mighty Joe Young or something like that? Ain't it something like that? It's something like that,
Yeah,
right?
that's what it is. It's like,
okay.
Yeah, it's like related to King Kong. I think it was supposed to be King Kong Jr. at first, and they just made it Mighty Joe Young.
Yeah, like you ain't. Like, you ain't Charlize, okay? And it's damn show ain't a movie. So what makes you think in your right mind that to make you think that it's okay to drag your ass inside a habitat for primates that could literally gang up on you and rip you to shreds with ease? What makes you think it's okay and then go back to work on high? Then also you represent that law firm. And you just did something really extremely idiotic. Like, she's a moron, as one of the cops said. You know what I mean? It was absolutely moronical. Is that a word? Does that work?
No.
Hey, we're going to go with it. Why not?
It works.
It works for me. It works for me. But yeah, straight up, idiot. Idiot.
I mean, she is lucky they didn't attack her. I mean, spider monkeys are, from what I've seen, they're like about 3 feet tall, and they are supposedly pretty aggressive if you try to kind of like domesticate them. So hand feeding them, for instance, would be one of those cases of domesticating that kind of makes them angry and attack people. So she's a little bit lucky she didn't get attacked there, because it seems like they don't enjoy that sort of handling at all. They're not normally aggressive, but if you try to feed them and stuff like that, apparently they will attack you.
Yeah. I mean, come on, y'all. I mean, thank God it was only junk food. You know, at least she wasn't like violently gesticulating in some sort of way. You know what I mean? At least she wasn't trying to do something like bad to the point where it could be translated into something worse. You see what I'm saying? Or at least she wasn't trying to play around with any of them that would have triggered one of them to the point of her getting her face ripped off. But at the same time, like, it's idiotic. It's idiotic. And damn right, you lost your job. Damn right you lost your job. Biggest idiot in the world, okay? Biggest idiot in the world.
I point out that like most of the like primate things do have like larger walls and stuff, not just because they can't easily climb out, but because they're very fond of throwing poop at people that look at them. So that's one of the reasons for the super tall walls as well.
Right. Like, so imagine if she was that unlucky. Seriously, if she got dung like thrown at her or any of that stuff, if she was assaulted by these primates, I mean, my Lord, who does that? Who does that? So damn right, I would fire her too. I'd be like, you do not represent us at all. How high were you? When did the edibles actually kick in? Was it while you were in the habitat with the spider monkeys, or was it before you decided to fling your legs over the partition to get into the habitat? Then it's also like, how did you get in the habitat in the first place? How did you get in there? Is it really that easily accessible? You'd think that everything's locked up. I mean, it's not like it's like a up to your chest type of deal. You know what I mean? Like kind of one of those kind of partitions. It's not like that. You don't have a railing. Those monkeys just jump over and, you know what I mean, do all kinds of bad stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And it looks like one of the zookeepers had a few comments. He says that these are primates we're talking about. They could do some substantial damage to you. They may be small monkeys, but they can take you to the ground if they wanted to. And they go on to point out that even though the woman put herself in danger, she also put the monkeys in danger, because that food would make them sick and cause them a lot of problems. And they also say that another trainer goes on to say that it takes years to build trust with these animals, and for someone to come in here for 5 minutes for a video on Instagram or whatever just ruins years of work. It's going to take a long time to get them back to where they were in their training.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Quit messing it up. Quit rocking the damn boat. All right? And apparently they're all gluten free, and they're on keto. They're vegan. So you can't mess with their diets. But I get it. All jokes aside, I get it. I fully get it. You know what I'm saying? I fully get it. It's important that you watch what you're doing. But at the same time, we wouldn't have to worry about this piece if she didn't do that. Right? We wouldn't even be talking about it if she wasn't so idiotic. Yeah. Moronical. I know Mark Jones doesn't like that. He said, "We'll just stick with moron," but I'm gonna go with moronical. I'm just gonna do it because it's fun. Why not? Why not?
Everyone's too desperate for Instagram clout, so they're doing all this stupid crap like climbing over fences into tigers and gorilla and monkey cages.
Yep.
I mean, I get it. I get that they want clout, but it just reminds me of like those TikTok videos where people jumped out of their car to record themselves for a minute, and then they lose their car because it drives off without them.
Oh yeah.
It's like so stupid.
Oh yeah.
I get that you want clout, but you shouldn't risk your life or the like well-being of those animals, because she could have killed some of those from the food, from what the zookeeper said.
Yeah.
Like that's not the way to go about it. You're just gonna look like an idiot. That's not clout. That's just infamy.
It's absolutely idiotic. Like I said, it's stupid, and yeah, I mean she could have done a lot of damage to those monkeys, which is a damn shame. But we got to move on to the next story, y'all. And this one, you know, I'm going to say something. I'm not feeling this one at all whatsoever. And it's one of our big stories of the day, okay? So we got to talk about this. Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey is about to appear in an Italian movie in his first role after the sexual allegations that have the sexual assault allegations that have been brought upon his ass. Like, now, if you don't know, Kevin Spacey is here it is. I'm not going to sit here and not say that he isn't a good actor because of the things that he's done, because of the allegations. He's a very good actor, okay? Very talented actor. He's done a lot of amazing movies, okay? American Beauty, Seven. He was on a show where he had to step down because of the allegations on Netflix. It was one of the biggest hits during that time, called House of Cards. This man is an extremely highly was a highly respected actor, okay? Hollywood actor. I mean, millions and millions of dollars, lots of accolades, Oscars, etc. All right? Well, he got into trouble because there was about 15 men that stepped forward alleging that he came on to them in a very aggressive manner. I mean, 15 different men that said during the time they were either still in high school, they were underage, etc. He has come out to basically say, I am sorry for doing said things, but he never really said, like, he never admitted the things that he did, that he allegedly did. He just said, I'm sorry for what I'm sorry for these people that think that I did what I did. A lot of these things I don't remember. But then also on top of that, he tried to basically tag himself into the LGBTQ plus community on top of that, going, well, this is an opportunity to come out and say, oh, yep, I'm gay. Which the community, the LGBTQ community did not like at all whatsoever. They said, we do not claim you. You go back over go into your little corner. You know what I mean? And he, basically we have not really seen much of him since that allegation. There's been a few videos he's done on YouTube where they have been just cryptic, random, very weird videos where he's acting like he's still the character from House of Cards, doing these random ass monologues and posting these things on YouTube. So now we have something very interesting. He is now going to be in a movie, an Italian movie. Kevin Spacey is set to make his return in acting in an Italian movie directed by Franco Nero. Now, Spacey's on board to make a cameo in the film. According to Louis Nero, Spacey would feature in a small role as a detective, a police detective. Franco Nero is set to star as the main character. Now, obviously, like I said, since 2017, he has not been in anything really since then. The casting will mark the disgraced actor's first film role following multiple sexual assault and misconduct allegations that were brought forth against him in the beginning in late 2017. So, Spacey's casting on the 22nd, May 22nd, also writing that, or this is what the ABC News says, also writing that the film will also star Vanessa Redgrave, which is also Franco Nero's wife. So, as Franco Nero says in his, he made a comment. He says, I'm very happy Kevin agreed to participate in my film. Franco Nero said to the ABC News, I consider him a great actor and can't wait to start the movie. Spacey declined request for comment. According to the Film Italia website, the low-budget indie film follows the rise and fall of a blind artist who has the extraordinary gift of making true-to-life portraits just by listening to human voices. Spacey was removed for a starring role in House of Cards in 2017 as the sexual assaults and misconduct allegations against him mounted. Now they're saying right now at least 20 men involved at the Old Vic, the London theater, at which Spacey was the artistic director, reported allegations of sexual misconduct against Spacey in 2017. 20 men. In 2018, Spacey was charged with indecent assault in Nantucket Island, Massachusetts, in an incident involving a teenage boy. Spacey pleaded not guilty, and the charge was later dropped when the alleged victim withdrew their civil lawsuit. So in other words, he settled that ish outside of court. Let's just be completely straight funky. He probably got a better deal. He was like, hey, kid, I'll give you more than what you're asking for. Real talk. Okay? So officials in Los Angeles also reviewed 2 sexual assault claims against Spacey, but ultimately determined that one case did not fall under their statute of limitations, and the other was dismissed when the alleged victim died. Last year, a man in New York filed a lawsuit against Spacey anonymously, alleging that Spacey sexually abused him in the 80s when he was 14. But on May 3rd, a federal judge ruled that the man cannot proceed in the lawsuit anonymously. So, interesting. So he was going to step out, or he was going to do this, this particular victim, all right, was going to step forward, or not step forward, but he was going to sue him, but he wanted to do it all still incognito. And, of course, they're sitting there saying, no, that cannot happen. Okay, so the last movie that Spacey ever starred in was called The Billionaire Boys Club in 2018, which it made a dismal $2.7 million at the box office. I've never seen the movie, but I heard the movie is absolute trash. So I'm not surprised that this movie did not do as well as they thought it would do. Now, that's the last movie he's done. All right? That's the last movie he was seen doing. Now he's about to do this movie, and the funny thing is that from my understanding, he is playing one of the detectives, and during this thing, he's a detective trying to find out if this particular person, like the suspect, actually did some things to underage children. Does that make sense? So he's supposedly playing a role investigating himself in real life, basically, which I think is absolute trash. Now, this is the question that I like to throw out to the fam, okay? The question is this. Should he be able to still work? He's never been charged. It's only been allegations so far. It's all been allegations. He has not been fully charged, found guilty with a jury of his peers or anything of that sort. Should he be able to work or not? That's the question I leave out to you guys, and I'm going to throw it over to David. What are your thoughts on this, man?
Yeah, well, that's straight up, I don't like him. I was going to say that straight up.
Facts.
But I wouldn't have hired him, and I don't think it's necessarily a good idea to hire him. I mean, like you said, you look at his last movie, and it was a major failure, and sure, it was a terrible movie from what everyone said, but I'm sure that his activities had a major factor in it. And it's just the fact that he's had so many accusations at this point that some of them are still in trying to get resolution, such as the felony charge for when he allegedly assaulted the child of the reporter, the other boy you mentioned, and as well as there was another 14-year-old who came out with his actual name, accusing him of previous sexual crimes. So, no, I mean, I don't think he should. Like always, I don't believe in cancel culture. It should be up to the people who hire him. I just don't think it's a good idea for them to hire him, and I'd recommend against it. I don't want them to hire him, but it's their choice. I do think that this movie, I mean, it's obviously a bit of a vanity project with the director being the main character and his wife being one of the main characters and him just picking Kevin Spacey to kind of fill this role. And I don't think it's really an accident that by taking on this role, he's basically, even if it's true in the story of the movie, he's basically defaming claims against people of that sort of harassment of children.
Right.
And like, just because of the way people's minds work, I do think that will have an effect where people assume he's innocent because they're seeing him in this movie where they are already having their idea kind of destroyed that all these accusations could be true. The fact that it's an Italian project doesn't surprise me too much. Italian films just don't really have as much of a problem with people that have performed such acts or are accused of performing such acts. It's no accident that they're the ones who, or that's where Roman Polanski did his film in 2019 after his accusations of similar things. Anyway, so
that's another conversation in itself for sure. But go ahead.
I mean, this kind of reminds me, I guess, of like the accusation type thing. It does remind me a little bit of what we were talking about with Charlemagne the other day, where he ultimately ended up going with a lesser plea, or he ended up settling some of the other things behind the scenes to kind of get away from that defamation. And like you said, for the boys involved, or who are probably, I think they're all men now at this point, you're probably right that the money he's offering them is just far more than they would get from any sort of lawsuit, especially since any sort of sexual crime is incredibly difficult to prove.
Real quick, Ryan James said, I don't even trust the last name. Who exactly is this Spacey guy? Real quick, while you're saying this, while you're saying your piece, this is Kevin Spacey, okay, on the set of House of Cards, all right? Very familiar face. You see all his photos right here. Continue, David. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so basically, I just think this is kind of the same situation where he's just trying to push it away by taking the lesser pleas. And of course, there's the possibility, I guess, that he's innocent, but with all the accusations and the way he's handled them, I don't personally think that's the case. Yeah, like I said, I don't think it's a good idea for them to hire him. Ultimately, I do, however, believe it's their right and their choice. I just won't be seeing the film, and I think it may end up affecting their basically profits from that, which is something I'm very okay with seeing. I don't want them to be canceled, but I do want them to kind of, have the ramifications of their actions come back on them.
Yeah, he was in Horrible Bosses as well. The thing, Mark Jones, he just said he had a role. He was the a-hole in Horrible Bosses. Yeah, he's terrible. So that role wasn't very far from who he is apparently. So here's the thing, cancel culture. There's one thing. I think that there's a moment where where cancel culture is necessary. And I know this is going to sound weird, okay? There's a few exceptions. This is what I say. There's a few exceptions. He might be an exception to the situation. Only reason is because he used his power, he used his privilege, he used his status to try to bed young men. That's really messed up. As he's the artistic director of the Old Vic, which is a highly, highly respected theater in London, where they did so many great pieces, so many great plays and all that stuff. He used his power to possibly bed young men. This is the only time I would say that cancel culture is okay. I would say cancel that ass. Why would I want to have a predator or a person that's up to no good running around and trying to bed innocent men that are just, let's just say these men are hungry, right? They're hungry to be successful. They're hungry to find success. They're hungry to make some things happen for themselves. And then you have somebody like Kevin Spacey who has literally, he got access to the brass ring. He could make you a star in 2 seconds. And he utilized those things. Man, let me tell you, there are stories where, oh my God, there are stories where he was a high school kid. He was like an usher at a theater. He would take him over to the house. They would go hang out, drink, blah, 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 while he's playing like Spacey hits on the TV, right? While he tries to make his advances towards this underage young man. Then there are other ones where he would get really wasted. And at this time, there was another guy by the name of Anthony Rapp, talented actor as well. Young, they were doing a play together. He took him, carried him upstairs to his bed, and tried to make his aggressive advances to this young man. Of course, he left, but at the same time, this is something that Kevin Spacey says he does not remember. But this other guy who was one of the main whistleblowers says, I remember everything. So for me, there's one thing about saying something on like Mel Gibson, okay, for example, perfect example, all right? Like, it's hard for me to watch any of his movies right now, but because of what he has said on voicemails to his then wife, and obviously they had a very volatile, toxic relationship, but the fact that he's like, I hope you get R-word by a bunch of N-words. For me, I can't look at Mel Gibson the same. You know what I'm saying? Even though I think he is a talented dude, I can't look at him the same. But I'm not sitting here saying that he can't work again. But somebody who's an actual alleged predator out here running around with 20 different men who have come out and said that he has done certain things to them, for me, this is when cancel culture comes into play. Fully. Not like Jimmy Fallon wearing blackface and Howard Stern doing this, that, and the other, race jokes of you know what I mean? Nah, we're not talking about that. We're talking about somebody who is dangerous. Absolutely dangerous. And did this to 20 different men, 20 different young men at that time. Some of them underage. So for me, I just can't. I can't let that be in my mind. And obviously, I'm not the one making the movies with him and all that too. But at the same time, I just couldn't let that. I personally could not let that slide if I was on set with him. You know, it's kind of like, I used to love you, man. We used to be friends. You know, you were the chosen one. You know what I mean? That's how I feel betrayed. And what he's done is wrong. So, yeah, this is the only time I would sit here and say, cancel that dude's ass. He could just live off of his royalties for the rest of his life. I don't give two damns. He shouldn't be working at all. That's what I think.
And there was, there's basically 2 rounds of revelations on him as far as I can tell. There was basically 2017, the initial thing where it came out that he, the issue with the 14-year-old boy that we've mentioned. So that's one of the things he's had before. At that time, there were other investigations into him where an actor claimed that he did that as well, who was also 14 at the time. Someone else that was 14 at the time of the incident also claimed he was doing this. So this was all from the 2017. And this is when, also at that time was when the Nantucket incident came out of the woman who said that he pretty much groped her son right next to her. So that was like the main line of accusations. But it looks like at the end of December of last year, there was a new round of accusations where a bunch of new people came forward. Most of them teenagers or around the teenagers, both overage and underage, but all teenagers that came out with additional claims. There's also claims against women, a few actions against women. He says that he alleges that there was a consensual interaction with a masseuse that says that he was molested by Spacey.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a lot of things that have come up over time. Now, some people have said in the chat that like some information could have been made up against him. I don't necessarily know about a lot of it, but there are the only thing I see. There are a few cases that have some questionable things for sure. Though I don't know if his defense attorneys are being honest, because Kevin Spacey's defense attorney said that there was additional with regards to both Nantucket and another situation that some of the text messages were hidden from the defense by the investigators and the prosecutors. However, I can't confirm. I tried to confirm if that's true or not, and as far as I can tell, it's a claim that is still being pretty much looked into by the court, but it's a claim that his defense attorney still uphold. Of course, the prosecution says that he's just full of crap. And one last thing I wanted to say is that when he came out initially in 2017, I did kind of take the way he came out as LGBT to try and kind of reduce the effect of kind of what he did to people, or at least to reduce the allegations of underage interactions. And that's and just, I don't know, man. Like, this guy has a lot of incidences, but there are a few cases where it looks like all the information may not have been put forward. It's just the amount of cases and the frequency of the same ages that are very suspicious here. Just especially with so many of them, including other actors, people that aren't actors. Masseuses, other people that he's interacted with.
Like I said, you know, like, and as much as we don't want, as much as we could sit here and go, oh, you know, and think, like, we can't sit here and say that it's a tough one, because, you know, as soon as somebody says something, right, as soon as somebody makes it known that they have been abused or assaulted in some sort of way, everyone is quick to assume that they might be faking it. They might be lying. And that's a very tough situation to be in, right? Especially if you're the person making the allegation known, right? Putting out that accusation. Because instantly there's going to be people who are going to sit there and go, is that true or not? But when you have 20 people who come out, I'm sorry, that's 20 people. 20. There's got to be some truth in it. There's got to be some truths. Maybe there's some that are fake, but there's some truths in those allegations. You see what I'm saying? Like, you know, the whole Bill Cosby situation, same thing. You know, you have 40, 80, whatever, how many women that came through. That's a lot of people that came out. Maybe some of them are fake, but there's a good portion that are not. So when it comes to this Kevin Spacey thing, just because he's never been charged fully, that he's never been found guilty, that what, you know, some of them have been dealt with behind closed doors, you know, like they were settled outside of court. One person died before the trial could even happen, so he couldn't get prosecuted for anything. You see what I'm saying? There's all these things that are happening. You got to remember, this is a guy who's got a lot of money, and he'll sit there and go, yo, I'll throw you $5 million right now. If you just shut up, I'll sign this check right now in front of you for $5, $10, $15 million. What do he got to lose? He got all the money in the world, you know? So, of course, you know, there are at least some truths in those multiple allegations. You know, real quick, thank you to John Harkrider for the $5 super chat. He gave us an emoji saying, keep it up. Thank you, my brother. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. And real quick, if you haven't done it yet, please crush that like button. Get that like button all the way up. Send all this positivity and love. You know what I mean? If you're feeling this conversation, if you understand where we're coming from, definitely crush that like button. Send it all the way up. And if you haven't done it yet, crush that subscribe button, all right? That would really, really mean a lot. And we have a join button. It's only $4.99 a month. That would really help the show keep giving you guys your stories of the day. Anyway, sorry about that. Had to do it. Shameless plugs. That's how we keep this thing, keep the wheels keep on turning, right? So anyway, but yes, that's the thing. It is a very tough thing. It is a very tough conversation because, you know, of course, a part of you wants to sit there and instantly believe the accuser, or actually, as soon as it's one thing when it's just one accusation, right? But I feel like it changes. People's attitude changes when the accusation, that one accusation, turns into a multitude of accusations. I feel like that's what happens. As soon as the first initial accusation comes out there, you're going, bruh, that's real? Wow. But then tack on 10 more. Then suddenly everybody goes, well, maybe they're lying. Maybe they're just trying to scoop up a bag. Haven't you noticed that? As soon as there's a multitude of allegations, the tunes start, like, people start singing a different song, which in my personal opinion doesn't make any sense. If somebody out here, okay, doing something bad, and somebody finally steps forward to say something about it, then I feel like you got to believe them. You know what I'm saying? You got to trust and believe them. Real quick, Chuck Diesel, thank you so much, bruh. Thank you for the $25 super chat. Thanks for providing everyone with a positive space in these chaotic times. You're appreciated, Brother Pascal. Thank you so much, man. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate you, Chuck Diesel. Thank you so much for showing the positivity and showing love. Real talk. You know what I mean? And for those of y'all who are watching this show right now, real quick, please share, tell your people about this show. Would love to have more people on, hanging out, watching the show, and you know, consuming our conversations. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, but that's the thing. So when it comes to cancel culture, this is the only time I feel like Kevin Spacey, of all people, should definitely be in the wake of in the wake of the cancel culture. Not the, oh, she tweeted this thing, or God forbid, you know what I mean? No, you put your hands on somebody, multiple somebodies, young somebodies. No, please cancel that mother lover. With all the sincerity in my heart, that person should never be working again. Period.
Yeah, this is just my interpretation too. But when he came out in 2017, or after the accusations, when he came out in 2017, apparently a lot of people thought it was already obvious. I don't really know. But
it being obvious, baby. We been knowing that. I mean, real quick before you say this, so I had a friend. We ain't friends no more. But so when I lived in New York, he was an aspiring actor, and he became good friends with Kevin Spacey, or at least that's what he would like to tell me. And he would tell me all these crazy stories about Kevin Spacey and how he's teaching him this and he's introducing him to that and blah, blah, blah. Man, we've been knowing. We've been knowing way before, like, and this was after, like, this was at the height of American Beauty, okay? You know, people were sitting there going, you know, or he was still riding that wave. I mean, it'd been done, you know, but he was still riding that wave. And everybody was like, oh, my God, I'm friends with Kevin Spacey and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, but now I'm going, bruh, what were you doing with Kevin Spacey? That's the question. You know what I'm saying? Because you got somebody who's dangling a potential role in your face. You know what I'm saying? That's sad, man. What were you going to say? I'm sorry. But we've been knowing he gay. We've been knowing.
So anyway, my interpretation of when he came out was basically that so pedos have been basically trying to jump into the whole LGBT thing since like the 70s or whatever, and obviously the mainstay of LGBT community do not want them in there whatsoever and do everything they can to push them away. But there has always been this like small group of external pressure, mostly of people that already support that idea, that want it to be part of the LGBT thing, and they keep pushing for this. They're still pushing for this now, and thankfully the mainstay of the LGBT continues to tell them to go F themselves, basically.
Oh, yeah.
And that's good. But there's still that pressure. And I think that's kind of what he was trying to do here is like they came out with those accusations and he comes out as LGBT to maybe kind of get the support from those who do think that's okay, who thinks that should be part of the LGBT thing. So he gets the support from the fellow basically pedos that way, and people that are just part of the LGBT, not part of that weird stuff. They just they might not be aware of what he's doing, and they just see that he's coming out and think he's brave for that. So I just saw the whole thing as a kind of ploy to to pretty much distract from his actions and try to find acceptance by association.
He's like, oh yeah, all these allegations. By the way, I'm gay. It's like, what? What? So you're associating being a P word with being a part of the LGBTQ plus community. Something seriously wrong with you. Now that is a full-on movement, an attempt at grasping at straws. And you better go sit down somewhere because that community is not claiming your ass at all. Unless you were exonerated and completely found not guilty on any of these charges. And all these people came out and said, we lied, we're sorry. But that ain't going to happen. Like I said, you got people who have been literally found that have come out with these accusations that are credible people, credible sources. Just saying. Maybe some are trying to scoop up a bag. Maybe. But there's some other ones that are just sitting there going, I can't live with this anymore. I can't live with this trauma anymore. And I see this guy on the rise, killing it, making money, winning, receiving accolades, doing TV shows and all this stuff, finding all the success in the world. And I'm here still trying to struggle to make it. And he got away with what he did? No, man, he's getting exactly what he deserves. That's why I'm like, nah, man, this irks my soul. Sorry. Until he is found innocent, I'm going to believe what is being said out here. I don't care. There's too many people out here accusing him of doing those very dirty things. All men. I mean, regardless, if it was they're children, for crying out loud. Children, and I'm not cool with that. I will never be okay with that. I will never watch a Kevin Spacey movie ever again. You want to know what's so messed up and what burns my cookies, what really grinds my gears, is that I love American Beauty, and I can't even watch that movie the same ever again. I can't even watch that movie anymore. And I love that movie. I was a huge Kevin Spacey fan. Huge. I feel betrayed. Nah, I ain't cool with it. Hey, I used to love Mel Gibson too. What a great, charismatic actor. Can't even watch his stuff no more. I can't. Sorry, I just can't. I'm not canceling him, but I just can't look at him the same way. With his coke-infused, drunk and coke-infused, voicemails that he's screaming, throwing out racial slurs. I can't look at the guy the same way. But one thing I'm not cool with is when a person is taking advantage of little children. I will never be okay with that. Ever. So you can go and do your movies in Italy. I ain't gonna watch that ish. Real talk. Hopefully that's the last movie you do, bruh. Hopefully. Straight up, real quick, thank you so much to Melanin Queen. Melanin Queen, my queen. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. That really means a lot. She says, hi, David. Glad you're part of the show. Pascal, thank you for all your hard work. This channel is will be going places. Much love. Thank you. I really do appreciate it. I don't know why I gave her a southern accent. I don't know why. Just roll with it, people. All right. I love all you guys. But we got to go into a quick commercial break. But when we come back, we will be talking about, this is the craziest story that I've seen in a while. But, it's funny. I say that all the time. I say that ish all the time. I'm straight lying to y'all. No, I'm totally kidding. But one thing that I find very interesting is that I'm not going to say much. It's just the next title. It's the next topic on our title. Drugs in ashes. Yes. Of course, we have our news briefing first. And then right after that, we will be talking about these drugs found in ashes. I'm not kidding. We'll be right back. Stick around. We'll be back in 2 minutes. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.
Love, peace, and wellness for the holidays. Don't cancel them. Prepare, STL. Decorate. Make it as normal as you can, but slow the spread of COVID. Wear a mask. Wash your hands. Watch your distance. Prepare, STL, helping St. Louisans of color prepare and prevail.
But you see how he makes these S's in his body right here? That's where he's hanging on, and then he's moving forward with the locomotion of his ribs. That is classic Missouri rat snake right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab him before he gets into a hole. Now, these snakes are not biters. They won't bite as long as you don't squeeze them. If you just stop them like this, it'll freeze them, and then you just gently pull them back. As long as you don't squeeze them, they won't bite.
Yo, Mike, what's up, man?
Guy? Good to see you, man.
Yeah, so Sugar Fire.
Yeah.
Fully open, right?
Yeah, we're pretty much open. So you can't sit inside yet. Monday you can sit inside a little bit. We'll have 25% of the tables inside, and then we're letting it rip outside.
So I know that there's a lot of people really concerned about staying safe and all of that.
No,
so what are you guys doing in regards to that?
Well, we have extra people to clean and rub everything down all the time. Everybody inside's wearing masks. And we have little stickers on the ground so everyone can stay 6 feet apart.
Right on.
The tables are all spaced out, inside and outside.
Sugar Fire, open in full effect right now. They're staying healthy, they're staying clean. Go get you a rack of ribs. Sugar Fire, open right now. Thanks.
The Fur and Leather Center, providing the highest of fur and leather goods.
Hey, welcome back, guys. Thank you guys so much for sticking around and being a part of the conversation. If this is your first time checking out this show, please go crush that subscribe button. I do this show Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, and I do a Tuesday through Thursday evening show at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I will be on tonight. Just a quick reminder, at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we will be doing an after show hangout today, right around 11 o'clock. As soon as we get done over here, we're going to be hopping over to Twitch and having a conversation, continuing our conversation over there. So please, it's an opportunity for you guys to maybe video chat in, phone call, make phone calls, etc., and chop it up with us for a good 30 minutes. We will be on Twitch. That is twitch.tv/The Pascal Show. Please go over there, set up your whole Twitchy thing, okay? And hit that follow button. Join the show over there in our conversation that we're going to be having at 11 o'clock as soon as this show is over. So please go and do that. But also, don't forget to hit that like button down below. Hit that like button. Send that love all the way up through the roof, into the moon, or whatever, into the stratosphere. All right, that would really, really mean a lot. And let's not forget to hit that join button. All right, $4.99 helps me fuel this show so I can keep giving you guys your stories of the day. So, speaking of stories of the day, we got to go into our world news brief with my boy David. What's going on in the world, man?
All right, we got a lot going on today, actually. First off, there's just two minor stories for the U.S. As I mentioned yesterday, Governor Whitmer was spotted violating mask restrictions and capacity restrictions at a bar. And since then, Michigan has announced that it will remove all of its limitations at bars and restaurants, so that is no longer a violation. Nashville firefighters yesterday and through the night, were fighting a massive fire at an apartment complex in downtown Nashville. Thankfully, no one was injured. However, multiple residences were damaged, and the Red Cross ended up stepping in so that everyone had lodging and housing for the night. The cause is yet to be determined, and the Red Cross will continue to aid these people until they figure out what to do with them, basically. Now, for the rest of the world, Israel in particular has been heating up a little bit again. No violence yet. Well, no war violence yet. But got a lot here. So first off, The Atlantic, which is an American magazine, has reported that damaged areas in Israel, within the land territory of Israel itself, from the Hamas rockets, were largely Arab villages that did not have government support, and they did not have bomb shelters. So The Atlantic is claiming that most of the casualties came from these Arab village locations. Prime Minister Netanyahu had just a little bit after that ended up thanking the U.S. for us giving them support in Israel, and he's promised a very powerful response if Hamas breaks the ceasefire, which has been maintained for 11 days now. Israeli police announced that they plan to detain hundreds of Palestinians who are citizens of Israel due to the recent peaceful sit-ins in support of Palestine. Israel says that 1,550 people have already been arrested, with more to come. Some Palestinians are claiming, some Palestinian citizens, not government officials, are claiming that this is a declaration of war. And just to remind everyone, according to Hamas reasoning, the initial attacks began because of a similar situation where they were arresting Muslim individuals at the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is also called Temple Mount. And lastly, for that area, the U.S., we just sent our State Department agent over there, Anthony Blinken. He'll be visiting Israel, Palestine, and Egypt and Jordan. Egypt is the one that brokered the peace deal with the Palestinians, and they have typically within the past been the ones that do this. And they're also working with Jordan to maintain basically control and peace through the area. So far, it looks like that they will be maintaining, other than the incidents I mentioned with the arrest, it looks like that so far the peace is holding, though tensions are still high and increasing in some areas. Iraq has just reported that of the close to $1 trillion made from oil since 2003, an estimated $150 billion worth of it was stolen and smuggled out of Iraq. President Barham Saleh said, and reporting to the New Arab, he continued on to report that they need to adopt a new crucial piece of legislation to curb this pervasive practice that has plagued our great nation of basically foreign powers, including the U.S., of coming in, as well as non-national agents basically selling this oil. They don't have a claim for who sold most of that $150 billion of oil. However, it has started in 2003, right after the invasion by the U.S. of Iraq. So allegedly, President Hassan Rouhani of Iran sent a letter to Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei asking that reformists and pragmatists be allowed in the upcoming election scheduled for June 8th. So far, 7 presidential candidates have been permitted by the Supreme Leader. However, the Supreme Leader has decided that none of these reform parties, none of these pragmatist parties are allowed to be running right now. So basically, not all of the non-religious parties are being excluded from the Iranian presidential elections. In Mali, we had soldiers ended up detaining their president and prime minister of their interim government. The African Union ended up coming over, reporting that they have fears of a second coup following the one in August of last year. And in a joint statement with the UN, the Australian Union called for immediate and unconditional release of Mali civilian leadership and said that the international community rejects in advance any acts of coercion, including forced resignations. In Zimbabwe, a traditional chief has ordered that Robert Mugabe's remains be exhumed from his home after his wife, Grace Mugabe, buried him there. And this is because, according to Zimbabwe law and customs, he should be buried at a government facility. So they dug him out from his home, and they plan to reintern him at the National Hero Shrine in Harare. In India, they have even more problems coming in, unfortunately. We've previously mentioned the black fungus that they have there, and there was a cyclone just a few weeks ago. Unfortunately, there's a second cyclone Cyclone Yas forming in the Bay of Bengal right now. The previous cyclone, which was called Cyclone Tutai, ended up sinking a ship and causing several casualties as well. They're still repairing damage from that cyclone as this new cyclone comes in. So they're somewhat unprepared for this. In addition to those, they're having problems with not just the black fungus, but the development of yellow and white fungus has appeared within the lungs and the eyes and the organs of individuals in India. This is also believed to be due to unclean materials. So now India is recommending that anyone in their nation, Indian or otherwise, if you go there, maintain a high level of hygiene throughout the time, especially if you're in the hospital. And if you've recovered from COVID-19 in that area, make sure that you also maintain a high level of hygiene, especially oral hygiene. And try to stay in a location that has a humidity below 40%. And this should mitigate those infections that are showing up in India right now.
Wow.
As for we also have the Tokyo Olympics are coming up. They were initially postponed due to the massive pandemic and postponed to 2021. So they're having some problems with this. These are the summer games, by the way. They're having some problems with this because the U.S. State Department has just advised citizens against traveling to Japan because of a sharp increase in the virus problems.
Interesting.
And a level 4 do not travel advisory is in effect for Japan.
Oh.
And lastly, for the world today, we have the World Health Organization ended up posting a 200-page record to go along with their recent release of information about their research in Wuhan. The World Health Organizations and critics of China plan to return and check into studies in Wuhan that may have been researching the virus before the outbreak actually occurred in China, including several individuals that may have came down, several scientists, researchers that may have come down with the virus in November 2019. And that's it for our news in the world today.
Wow. It's, the thing with Japan, and then, of course, India with another cyclone coming through. I mean, India right now can't even catch a break, which is terrible. And then, of course, as much as we think that, hey, we're done with the, once we get poked, it's over. We're still having issues right now. In fact, allegedly, there's another variant brewing somewhere in America. Allegedly. They're saying Texas. Allegedly. Yep. Now, it's still terrible. You know what I mean? Still terrible stuff. And like I said, this is going to be very interesting. But thank you so much for that information. You know what I mean? This is but now you know what's going on in the world with that. Like I said, y'all, we're starting some new stuff and starting to add some new segments into the show to bring a little bit more to you guys so that you have a little bit more, something to sink your teeth into. So when you're around your watering hole or whatever they call it, the water, whatever, you know what I'm saying, the water tank. What is that thing in the office?
The water cooler.
The water cooler. You have something to talk about aside from, stuff that's going on in America. All right. But we got to go into this next story. This is one of our top stories of the day. This is something that just really kind of just messed me up. And it's a heartbreaking video that you're going to see here in a second. But let's take a look at this. That's my daughter. Police mistook child's ashes for drugs during a traffic stop. And of course, there's going to be a lawsuit. So lawsuit alleges, okay? Of course there would be a lawsuit for this. All right? And gotta love it's in Springfield, Illinois. Damn. Anyway, police officers in Illinois are accused of making the ashes of a 2-year-old girl, mistaking the ashes of a 2-year-old girl for drugs during a traffic stop, according to multiple reports. Now, we are going to look at this. We're going to look at the video because it's trash. Those are the words of Dartavius Barnes, captured. He said, no, bro, that's my daughter. Those were the words of Dartavius Barnes, captured by a Springfield, Illinois police body cam after officers allegedly mistook the ashes of his 2-year-old daughter for drugs. Can I ask you guys something? Before I even go any further with this, how does somebody, a cop, mind you, a cop, a man of the law, okay? Man of the law, who's gone through his whole, crash course, studied what drugs look like, what weed looks like, what meth looks like, what cocaine looks like, what crack, heroin, everything under the sun that is drug related, drug paraphernalia. They already know what it looks like. Yet this man is having the audacity, these officers have the audacity to believe that an urn containing the ashes of a loved one has drugs in it. I'm sorry. Let's continue in this because I'm sorry. It just really duh. Exactly, Kiki5. How you doing? Good morning. Anyway, Barnes is now suing the department over the April 6, 2020 traffic stop. Of course. I would too. Damn. Okay. Video obtained by the Wix first shows Barnes handcuffed, sitting in the back of the squad car, give officers permission to process the vehicle. The vehicle. This was in the center console, says the officer, after searching the car, unscrewing a cylinder and showing it to another officer. At first, I thought it was heroin. Okay? Heron. Then I checked it. Then I checked for cocaine. But it looks like it's probably Molly. X pills? Another officer asks. Despite the positive results of the police field test, the powder inside the metallic container wasn't drugs at all. It was cremated remains of Barnes' daughter, Tanaja, according to the lawsuit. The toddler died, 2-year-old girl, died February 2019 after police found her unresponsive, wrapped in a urine-soaked blanket, according to Wix. She had been neglected and starved in the days leading up to her death, authorities said. The girl's mother, Tawanka Davis, and her mother's boyfriend were found guilty of her murder and were both sentenced to decades in prison. The lawsuit claims that officers opened Tanaja's ashes without consent and then spilled them out during the search. Talk about having no respect for another human life, especially one that has perished. Body cam video captured the moment. Police told Barnes they were going to arrest him for drug possession and showed him the cylinder they found in the center console. Give me that, bro. That's my daughter, Barnes pleads. Please, give me my daughter, bro. Put her in my hand, bro. Y'all are disrespectful, bro. The officers who said they found, the officers say they also found marijuana in the car. Discuss what, and by the way, it's legal. Discuss what Barnes told them, and ultimately, one says, I'm just going to give him a notice to appear on the weed. Another says, aside from pissed off dad and testing the dead baby's ashes. Barnes is now suing the city of Springfield and several Springfield police officers. A jury trial is set for August of 2022. Now, the thing is we're gonna look at the video, then we're gonna comment on this crap because it's absolute trash. Like I said, it's absolute trash. We're not gonna watch the whole thing, but let's get into the meat and potatoes of this thing, shall we?
Yeah, I'll ask him real quick. Go ahead.
Here we go.
It's like Molly or ecstasy.
There we go. Here we go.
Cause you got some weed, man. There was something else in the car too.
What?
A little bit of like X crushed up.
Ass crushed out, what?
Center console.
You sure it's ass, bro?
It's like Molly or ecstasy crushed up.
No, y'all did some tests on it, bro?
Yeah, it tested positive for meth/MDMA.
What?
Yeah.
You sure, bro?
I'll show it to you.
Yeah.
Tested for MDMA. Allegedly.
Yeah, I'm gonna show it to you.
I mean, he got weed. He got weed.
Well, it's like it's the same test kit for meth as it is for MDMA.
What's MDMA?
Like Molly or ecstasy.
Yeah, guys, there's no, I still don't do that type of shit. How much was it, bro?
Not much.
So, bro, y'all think that was in there before me or something? Yeah, bro, that's not, the only thing in mind is the weed. I don't even know, but, yeah, can I see that, bro?
Yeah, just give me a second, alright, man?
Am I going to jail for it?
Yeah, probably at this point. I'll show it to you, right? Well, these are kind of, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to a lawyer and have him press it.
Here we go.
Well, plus the weed, man, is too much. You know what I'm saying? You got too much weed, anyways, and it's got to be like in different packaging. It's got to be like child resistant, odor proof. Like,
no, bro. That's my daughter. What are y'all doing, bro? That's my daughter, bro. Give me that, bro. That's my daughter, bro. That's my daughter. What are y'all doing? No. Ask my daddy, bro. That's my daughter in there.
I will.
What are y'all doing? Don't you know, bro? Y'all can't. Whoa, bro. Whoa. That's my. She just passed 2 years. She just passed last year. You know you know me, bro. That's her, bro. Okay. No, bro.
Let me talk to the
bro,
officer.
please give me my daughter, bro. Put her in my hand, bro. Y'all are disrespectful, bro.
You need to move your arm.
Okay, bro. Can I please have my daughter?
Right there.
This is the doctor's ashes that tested positive for meth.
Tested positive for meth. I just want to make sure that's abundantly clear. He says it tested positive for meth. Hold on, I'm rolling that back.
This is the doctor's ashes that tested positive for meth.
Tested positive for meth.
Hey, I mean, he showed it to me. It looked blue, but I'll test it again.
They tested.
Bro, give me my daughter, bro. That's something very important to me, bro. Give me my daughter, bro. Please, bro. Please, bro. Give me my daughter, please, bro. Bro, please, bro. That is something very important to me, bro. Please, bro.
It's in the bag, right?
It's in this, like...
He says it's an urn with his daughter and dead daughters. What is it?
We didn't show the test positive.
But it didn't, it looked like possibly Molly. Like it's brown, like it does kind of look like ashes.
That guy knew what it was immediately.
The guy immediately got out and said that's the ashes of his granddaughter who just died.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to test it again. I'm just going to give it back to him. Yeah.
Bro, can I please have my bullet, bro?
Hey, ask him if he wants it or if he wants his dad to have it.
Tell my dad calm down, bro.
I'm going to give it to your dad, all right?
Yeah, tell him to calm down, bro. Yeah, bro. Thank you, bro.
So the test kit, like it did look like it field tested for like meth.
Bro, I knew that was impossible. That's not my cousin.
Wait, so it field tested for like meth? Like he's even questionable. He's even questioning the said testing. He doesn't even know what he doesn't even know what he's testing. He's like, it tested for like meth? He's not even sure of what he's saying. What are you going to say, David?
And it would never trigger the test. It should not. If it's ashes, that's a base, and MDA and all of that is an acid. So it wouldn't even show up on the same test. He's just straight up making it up.
Like the audacity of these officers to sit there And of course, it's a much longer video, which we're not obviously going to play all of it. But the audacity of these officers that they would sit there, or this particular officer, to go sit there, spill out some of his ashes, some of his daughter's ashes, who of course died in a very tragic and terrible way. Obviously has sentimental value because it's his freaking daughter. And these officers are just spilling it out and all that stuff. Mind you, like I said, they got one of the officers is like, oh yeah, aside from a pissed off dad and testing a dead baby's ashes, like it's just like, oh, no big deal. Nothing. No respect at all, y'all. No respect. And I've seen some stupid things in my day, but that is just dumb. They took the ashes of a child and tried to test it for drugs. Spilling out some of her ashes just so they can show. Just so they can show to see if there was any drugs in it. Just because he had a whole bunch of weed on him. I don't know how much weed that was, right? It was a bunch of weed, but that was it.
I think it's around a pound is my guess.
Man,
which is unfortunately just over the limit for a serious federal crime. So that's why I think he said that, like, yeah, you just have a little too much here. I think that's what they're trying to get him for initially was because it's a much bigger crime to have 1 pound or over because then it falls under distribution by federal law. Don't know what the state will do though.
Yeah. Welcome to our world. Welcome to our world, y'all, where a cop can sit there, take an urn, spill it out and go, it tested for meth? What? Like, you look at it and tell me this looks like meth. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it doesn't. Ashes look like ashes. They don't look anything like meth. At least from all the pictures I've seen. I mean, I haven't actually used meth, but I looked up a bunch of photos of meth and heroin and everything while we were talking about this, even in powdered forms. None of them look like ashes, no matter what I could find. So I just think he was making it up from the beginning. I mean, the dude probably does have over a pound, so I guess he would be going to jail for that. But as far as the ashes go, he just made it up from the beginning. It doesn't look like any drugs, and it would not return a test, at least for those specific drugs that he mentioned. Those would not return as positive no matter what, because that's just chemistry. It's just ashes do not have reactivity. That they would not get that result. So he's lying. He's directly lying to this person. I guess it's technically possible they have some test that's so faulty it misidentifies things when there's nothing present, but that's the problem in itself, and I also doubt that. I doubt that a lot.
I mean, it takes a lot for someone, to a certain extent, I get a cop lying or fibbing to try to get somebody to confess. You see what I'm saying? To push them to say something like, how were you able to find all that ecstasy, or how were you able to find all those drugs? I had them stashed really good. But that's not the case here. You got a guy who's literally weeping because he's like, and he goes, literally, he talks about MDMA. You hear it in the video. Like I said, it's a much longer video. But in the video, you hear him go, what the hell is MDMA? He doesn't even know what it is. And he's like, oh, it's ecstasy, man. Molly. He's like, I don't mess with that stuff. I don't even know what you're talking about. Then literally this cop has the audacity to go over to the cops and say, hey, yeah, this urn, that he's saying is the ashes of his daughter, it tested for meth. Huh? See, this is the problem with what we see all the time, where there's lack of respect for people, lack of respect out here in these streets. They just are so quick to just sit there and think that they just can do whatever the hell they want. But when somebody says, hey, this is my daughter, this is not like some movie. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, oh yeah, we just mixed up all like a whole bunch of meth or Molly or whatever you want to call it in an urn. We just mixed it up with my daughter's ashes. Like, Who does that? Who does that? This story is so sad, man. Real talk. So sad. And I feel for that man. You know, I feel for him. Yeah. And of course, if you noticed, the cops knew him, Dartavius. They knew Dartavius. He was like, yeah, you know me. You know my daughter. You know what happened to her. That's my daughter. So he's already run into these cops before. And he's sitting there going, you know who I am. This is my daughter, bruh. Put that down. Quit pouring my daughter's ashes on the floor and stuff, man. Have some respect. But unfortunately, we live in this world where some guys think they're freaking Judge Dredd. They can do whatever the hell they want. It's Wild Wild West out here. That's sad. And that's truly, truly messed up. Whoo, man, stuff like that really just angers me so much. But we got to jump into something a little bit more lighthearted. We got to go into our Speak On It segment of the day. And today's conversation has to do with Dwyane Wade. Yep, Dwyane Wade. Oh, yeah. So there's a lot of people that feel some type of way about Dwyane Wade right now. A lot of people are saying that he's beta as hell because recently he was on a interview where he spoke about his relationship, his non-traditional, let's just say his relationship, his marriage to Gabrielle Union, I would say is not entirely traditional, okay, for lack of a better term. I do have a quote from this interview that he had. He had an interview on Extra, all right, with Gabrielle Union. They were sitting there, chopping it up, having a grand old time, and they talked about relationships and the relationship that he has with Gabrielle Union. And he said this so that you guys can see it with your eyes too. He responded saying, "It's not the man leads and the woman follows. That's not what we live in this house. For me, I have a wife that works not just as hard, harder than I. She had her own career, her own life before I came along. From my perspective, I was like, how can I be a part of the growth, the evolution of who she is, not to try and change her or stunt her growth?" Now, this is going all over the place. People have been talking about this quite a bit. I've been seeing a lot of commentators, especially like relationship commentators, talking about this specific quote from this interview that he had on Extra. Now, the question I have for you guys, and this is going to be a Speak On It segment as well, so I would love to hear your thoughts. So be sure to get your phone fingers ready to dial the number when I put it out here in a second. But a lot of people are sitting there calling him beta male for saying what he said in that quote. Now, the thing is, I want to ask you, does this make him beta? Does this make this response, what he said, does this make him beta? Now, there's a lot of people that don't know what we mean by beta, okay? Beta, being a beta male is somebody who is, and of course, I'm just telling you what beta male is, okay? This is not my opinion, but beta male is basically, a pushover, somebody who follows rather than leads, the antithesis of being alpha male, okay? Someone who is just being, does what he is told to do, and he does it very well, and he's happy just being a lapdog, basically. Alpha is the leader, takes charge, makes decisions, is the head of his household, so on and so forth. So, with that being said, do you think what he said here makes him a beta male? Yes or no? Give me a call. We're going to open up the phone lines. Give me a call, 314-766-4581. All right? I want to hear your thoughts on this from both sides of the fence. Ladies, gentlemen, I want to hear your thoughts on this. okay? Because this is quite a big conversation that people are talking about. Does this automatically throw him under the category of beta? I've seen a lot of people sit here saying over and over and over again, yes, that makes him beta as hell. I don't entirely agree. You want to know why? The reason why I say this is, okay, I think he's basically trying to say he knows when to lead and he knows when to follow. I don't think that automatically categorizes you as beta. Now, if she is the head of the household and she makes all the decisions all the time, then I could see where somebody would sit there and categorize him as beta. But why is it such a big deal if he knows, okay, she's got her own career, she got her own money, she's making decisions for herself in her career? What's wrong with a man supporting his woman? What's wrong with a man having her back? They both make their own monies independently. And a lot of decisions, I'm sure, that happen within the household are done together in unison. How is this beta behavior? To me, I feel like that is, if you are alpha, if you are a leader, you know when to stand up and make decisions, and you know when to sit back and let another person lead. You know when to lead and you know when to follow. I feel like that is the sign of a good leader. That is the sign of a good spouse, a good husband. Because here's the thing, like I said before, if the situation was different, if the money game was different, I feel like he would be making all the decisions all the time. But given the fact that she has her own career, her own streams of money and income, the decisions are a little bit different. And I feel like they have to start sharing. And last time I learned about sharing is apparently sharing is caring. So what's the big deal? How does that make him beta? David, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah. Can you read his comments one more time real quick?
Let me pull that up one last time. Hold up. He says, it's not the man leads and the woman follows. That's not what we live in this house. For me, I have a wife that works just as harder than I. She had her own career, her own life before I came along. From my perspective, I was like, how can I be a part of the growth, the evolution of who she is? Not try to change her or stunt her growth. There it is. And literally, they are losing their damn minds over this right now. People are still talking about this. And I see this as a breakdown of a power couple. I see this as couple goals, right? Yes, there's going to be moments that he is going to step up to the plate and say, I want to do this, so we going to do this, right? And the same thing with her. I want to do this, so I'm going to do this. How does that make him beta? I don't see this being beta material. I see this being somebody who's in a open, a very good open relationship, and I don't mean open in that way. I'm just saying open relationship where they talk and they think about things and they make decisions together as a team. As a couple. Not, we gonna do this because I'm the man. And she's just like, okay, baby. No, I think there's more going on here. And they both are breadwinners in their own right. Don't get me wrong. I mean, his bag is a lot deeper and a lot bigger than hers. But at the same time, who's he to say to come in and just tell her what she got to do? Because this is the law. I'm the law. Nah. We live in different times. You can still be alpha. You can still be an alpha male and have a partner. Not a live-in housekeeper that happens to pop out kids for you at the same damn time. I mean, come on now. David, thoughts? Oh, phone lines are open right now. 314-766-4581. I want to hear your thoughts on this one. Give me a call. 314-766-4581. 4581. David, thoughts?
All right, so I basically agree with what you said. I don't think any of his comments would classify as bait or anything. I mean, he's just talking about the fact that his wife works hard and that he supports her. That doesn't seem like it's a beta thing, I guess. But at the same time, as far as the like alpha and beta thing goes, there's become such like a misunderstanding of it, and like, there's some people, I forget his name's like Voice something, that try to release a modern book on like alpha males versus beta males versus gamma and all this other crap.
Mm-hmm.
But like, this is basically just a new idea created largely out of nothing, because it has its basis in like the wolf structure. That's where it comes from. I'm assuming that makes the alphas feel more alpha if they tie it back to wolves or whatever. But basically the idea is like the alpha's in charge, the betas follow and take care of things, and then you have the lone wolf class that doesn't participate and just kind of does what it wants.
Mm-hmm.
And this gets further changed, and that's why I don't think it works here, because we're not wolves for one thing. So we're trying to extrapolate this whole idea of dominancy in the wild world into this like modern relationships, and that doesn't really work, because an alpha is most likely not an alpha. He's most likely not leading large numbers of people. He's most likely not actually guiding the lives of others, which is kind of what the idea of an alpha is. He's just assertive and aggressive. That's basically what it means as if a human is an alpha.
Whoa.
And
I lost you. You. We do have a phone call though, but finish your thought real quick.
Yeah, so I just don't think really like the alpha and beta thing applies accurately to humans the way they're trying to do it, especially with how complex human society is. It just doesn't make sense to me.
That is true. And like I said, I feel like it's getting too much, like they're leaning on this whole alpha and beta thing too hard. But we got a phone call. You're on the mic with the Pascal Show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Pascal. It's Siri.
Hey, Siri. How you doing?
Germany.
All the way from Germany.
I'm fine, and you?
Oh, we good. We living. So what's on your mind? Speak on it.
Well, I was just thinking, I agree with David totally. I mean, even the interpretation of alpha and beta in wolves is grossly misunderstood in sort of common discourse. It's just a lot more complex than people think. Mm-hmm. But also, I was just thinking, well, even if he were a beta and he likes just, letting somebody else take charge and he'll go along with it. I mean, as long as they're not mean to him, that doesn't seem like a problem to me. I mean, some people don't want to be in charge, and if they can find somebody that is happy with that and they work well together, doesn't seem like a big problem to me.
Right. It's just so here's the thing. In the black community, it is not something that is, especially with black males, it is not something that is it is frowned upon, because we within the black community and black culture, we are known to have more of where we lean more on the traditional structure of things. Right, the man of the house is the man of the house. He is the leader. He is the alpha. He is the alpha. All right. He makes the decisions. The wife, follows along, and the male the man in the family takes over, and it has full control over the decisions that are being made in the world. Now, obviously, we are living in different times, but there's still a lot of people that still ride on the old structure, the traditional conservative structure of relationships and of of the household. And I grew up that same way too. It was my father was the alpha. He was the man who made the decisions. If we were going to do something, it was him who made that decision. But I know for a fact that there were also things that he would say, or there were also conversations that were and decisions that were made with my mother. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, he would be the one going, okay, we're doing this, or we're going to do that, or we're investing in this, or whatever. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, he was the one making the final decision, right? So within the black community, when they hear something like him going with Dwayne Wade saying, we don't live like that. She makes her own decisions too. Yes, the black community, black Twitter, black social media goes ablaze because they're going, well, what the heck? You see what I'm saying? Why is this? No, you the male in the family. This is not right. You see what I'm saying? This isn't what you. No. Gabrielle should be following you, not the other way around. And I feel like what's happening is they're taking his quote and they're chopping it up and screwing it and flipping it around. And I don't think it's like that. I think that they cohabitate. They work together as a team. And when one is slacking, the other one picks up that slack. But I think that's what a relationship should look like nowadays. We don't live in the 50s and 60s where it's like he comes home and he's like, honey, I'm home. And she's sitting there with, his slippers and a martini in her hands going, how was your day, honey? Ready to go. It's not like that anymore. We live in different times. So yeah, that's why this is why the black community is kind of blown up about this conversation, or about this quote.
Well, but you know what people tend to miss about this whole alpha thing?
Yeah.
Alpha males in the sort of animal kingdom, they tend to have a very short lifespan, and they tend to be incredibly stressed out all the time. Being alpha male in the animal kingdom is not very healthy. It does ensure that your genetic material gets passed on, but it's not sort of indicative of a long, happy, relaxed life. It's stress and worry and conflict and constant aggravation. It's just not very nice. So I'm not sure why we should be aiming for this. I mean, I get my dad's nearly 80, and every once in a while he gets a bit Victorian and thinks he's going to be the man and decide, and then all the women in his house turn around and say, no, Dad, it's okay. And, and then he's like, okay. But he does have he was raised that way too, and sometimes he just wants to feel like the dad in the house. That's fine. But I don't know, it just seems that the aspect of, if you think about how much higher rates of suicide, addiction, violence, all these things are for men, it's not very healthy. So maybe the approach of let's be nice might work for a lot of people, might actually make lives better.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that I also do believe that we're living in, I think that relationships and the way we live now are completely different. Like I said before, we're not in the 50s and 60s where women are at home. There's a lot of women that are breadwinners. There's a lot of women that are much more successful than their husbands nowadays. There's a lot of Mr. Moms out there too. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't think that automatically categorizes you as beta or alpha or anything. I think that we just are in different times for sure. And that I think the way we look at relationships needs to change just a little bit. We need to change the lens a little bit. Don't get me wrong. There's going to be relationships that are very traditional, and that's okay, as long as there's an understanding. But I do believe that if you are in a strong relationship with somebody and they're making their own money and they're a business person or whatever, I don't think that there's anything wrong with sharing the responsibilities, sharing the decisions. We live in that time, like I said, where we have more and more people, more and more households that are dual earning households. And it doesn't matter who makes more money or not. I think that what couples need to do is work with each other on child rearing, on making those big decisions on what they're going to do, if they're going to put an extension on their house, or if they're going to move into another home, or if they're going to go out of town, so on and so forth. I think that those kind of decisions should be made as a couple. That does not make you alpha or beta. That just makes you a human being working with somebody that you love in a team-like environment. And yeah, one day you're going to take the lead. The next day she might take the lead. I don't see anything wrong with that, personally.
Right. It just depends on what you're good at.
Right.
No point in taking charge if somebody else is better at it. Plus, it's a mental thing. I mean, I personally live in a very, very conservative situation. I'm a housewife. My husband earns the money.
Right.
It doesn't get more Republican wet dream as that. But if he came in here and started laying down the law, there'd be problems.
Right.
Doesn't mean you don't respect me or I'm not working or doing stuff for the family. The thing is, we were in a situation and we ended up that certain responsibilities fell on a certain person. And, life happens. Was that my dream as a child to become a housewife? Obviously not. That's not really what I was looking for, but that's how it turned out. But that has nothing to do with respect.
Right. Well, then
respect somebody.
Can I ask you something then? Because, I mean, obviously you are in a little bit more of a, let's just say, a traditional breakdown, right?
Yes.
a traditional relationship and everything. So if you mind me asking this, I don't want to get, obviously I don't want to be too personal or anything, but do you mind me if I ask a tiny personal question?
Since when do we not get personal?
Right.
Yes?
No kidding.
Fine.
Welcome to the show. Right. Real quick. Good morning, Nur. How you doing? We missed you yesterday. Good morning, Nur. Okay. So, the question I have for you is this. Okay. Because you are in a traditional traditional breakdown, right? You're home. He's out there, working and everything. Who is the one that
Slaying the dragon?
Slaying the dragon. Exactly. Bringing home the bacon. Who is the one who actually who's the one who actually makes the decisions in the household? Is he the one who makes the major decisions in the household, or is it both you guys? Honestly, be honest.
It depends what it's about.
Okay. Well, what is it? Is it when it comes to financials? Let's just say that. Who makes the decisions on the big financial decisions?
Well, the big financial decisions are always made together.
Oh, okay. Right.
Nobody makes a huge financial decision without sitting down and having a plan. The day-to-day financial, like bills and stuff, I take care of that.
Gotcha.
That's my thing, like making sure the books are balanced and what's not. That's my thing. But the sort of larger, if we just bought a piano today. That's a big investment.
Yes.
And we talk about it and then, look at the budget, figure out what we want to spend and stuff. It's just, but other things, little things like he's a network engineer. If it's about computers, yeah, you go ahead, because why am I going to mess with that if you're the expert?
Right.
If it's about something else, don't come in my kitchen and tell me what to do, because I'm really good at that. You're okay, but you're not as good as me, so I take care of that, So it depends on your competence. And like child rearing, that's all by agreement. We sit down and we deal with it together.
Right.
You have an emergency veto that you can throw in every once in a while. Every couple of years, somebody can just throw in a veto, no questions asked.
Right.
It's just a normal relationship. But I know that, for instance, a lot of his colleagues, my husband's colleagues, get very upset when they realize I never took his last name. I have my own name. I never changed it.
Whoa. Interesting. No, seriously, okay. Siri, let me just say something. Okay. In the traditional sense of the world that we live in and sort of don't live in, okay? Well, we do. Let's be real. When it comes to relationships, a lot of guys are very old school. And very traditional, innately, you know what I mean? Unless they find that person, then they're cool with it. But the fact that you didn't take the last name, yes, a lot of guys are going to lose their minds over that, for sure. Absolutely. Because that is a sign to them. They're going, oh, alpha. You see what I'm saying? That is an alpha thing for sure. You know what I mean? Guys are going to be like, wait, so she's not taking his name, what? You know what I mean? It's very interesting.
You have to get very upset about it with him. Like, we had that from, when he used to work for the government, we'd get invitations to functions, and he had to go to the office and say, look, you can't write Mrs. Murray. She's not called, that's not her name. And, of course, they'd correct it because, and when people would realize at work, they'd get really pissed off at him. They'd be like, why aren't you taking charge at home? Why don't you have your wife under control?
Right.
It's like, that is crazy. You know, at this point, he's like military with the guns and the stuff, and I'm at home with the babies, but he's not in charge because I kept my name, really?
Yeah.
And, I mean, I proposed to him. That's
You did?
another matter of contention.
Right.
Yeah, I proposed to him. So I wasn't going to wait.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
I wanted to marry him, and I let him know. And he said, okay, let's do this.
Wow.
So, you know, and it blows people. But you can't accuse the man of not being, like, manly. He's doing his thing. He lifts the weights. He's big and hairy, you know?
Yeah.
But these stereotypes don't always fit people. And like the name thing, my name wasn't defective. I did not want to change my name. It works. This is me. Hello. But I don't forget I'm married to him just because we have separate names.
Right,
My
right.
sister didn't change her name when she got married.
Interesting.
She kept her name too.
Interesting. You know,
It's like,
okay. Unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot of time. I'm sorry, because we gotta jump off here, because we gotta go and do this after party over on Twitch. But yes, hold this thought, because this is a much bigger conversation than I expected, which is dope. But we gotta continue this conversation over on the Twitch show. But Siri, thank you so much for your phone call. I'm so sorry for cutting you off, but we got 3 minutes until we are out of here. Okay. But
no worries. I'll see you on the other side.
I'll see you on the other side. Okay. We'll be talking to you soon. Okay. All right. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
You know what's crazy is you know, what she said is very interesting. You know what I mean? Because especially there is something. I think I'm going to throw it over on the Twitch show. I think I'm going to show it on the after show, because there's another piece. There's another video of, you know, we're seeing compilation videos. We're seeing videos, countless videos of women getting down on one knee and proposing to their men. And there's a lot of people out here that feel some type of way about this. And I do too. I'm not going to lie. And this is me being a traditional guy. This is me being the conservative in regards to relationships and everything. You know what I mean? I might not be that flexible with that side of things. So we will be talking about that very, very shortly. But yes, I feel like here it is. For any person who's alpha or who likes to declare themselves as alpha, you can't be alpha all the time. If you're alpha all the time, then you're just a straight up ass. I'm sorry. If you're just alpha all day long, you're going to lose your damn mind. That's what I personally think about that. I think that there is a level of learning to know when to lead and when to follow. That does not make you beta. That makes you alpha. That makes you a great leader. You know, it's like, okay, for example, knowing when to diversify or delegate responsibilities to other people so that you're not holding all of the things, all of the weight on your shoulders. That is a sign of being a great leader. That is it. Aside from a great leader being able to learn, take responsibility for their actions and of course, learning from their mistakes and all that stuff, another sign of being a great leader or of being alpha is knowing when you need to step up and when you don't need to step up and just be a support beam, let's just say. That's what I think. So what he said there does not automatically, in my personal opinion, does not automatically mean, oh, he beta. He a little bitch boy. Nah, I'm not with it. I'm not with that at all. All right. And we already know about his upbringing, like his kids and all that stuff. And that's a whole other Charles Dickens story in itself. But at the same time, I don't think this makes him beta at all. But then again, I'm not in their home. I don't see how they conduct with each other. I don't know how their communication is presented. But I don't think that this shows beta. This shows a man who loves his wife and has her back. But anyway, we got to go. Okay, we got to jump off here, but we will be going into Twitch for our after show party. So, our after show hangout. So please come on over to Twitch. That is twitch.tv/thepascalshow and join in on our conversation over there. We got to hop over there right now. Okay. So we'll see you guys in about 2 minutes. All right. Go over there. Let's have this conversation over there. And I got a video for you guys to see with your own two papers. All right. We'll be there. See you at the after show hangout. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.
Homeowners and property managers, if you're looking for effective and humane ways to remove wild animals and deal with the damage that they have caused, we have good news for you. Introducing Wildlife Command Center, a professional nuisance wildlife management company specializing in providing animal removal for residential, industrial, and commercial clients. We are the only wildlife company that checks 70 different areas on a structure to determine the answers to the following questions. Exactly which animal are we dealing with? How is the animal getting inside the home? What kind of damage is the animal doing to the structure? Once we get the answers to all of these questions, we develop and write up an action plan to resolve the animal issue completely and provide a quote to implement that action plan. We perform a very in-depth 70-point wildlife inspection. From visually inspecting the highest point, the chimney, to physically crawling inside the attic space and looking for animals, chewed wires, fecal matter, chewed structural wood. We inspect everything. Our inspection process covers all of the following 70 points: animal-proof chimney cap, roof ridge vents, roof to soffit junctions, dormer fascia, attic gable vents, gutter lines, fascia trim, garage door, utility penetrations, water, gas, electric, and cable, bathroom vents, attic roof ridge vents, attic electrical, wiring, junctions, boxes, and lighting, concrete decks, additions, wooden crawl spaces, basement plumbing, penetrations, ceiling, floor, and wall. Wildlife Command Center's mission is to deliver the finest quality wildlife removal and pest control service that is safe for the environment. For more information, call us now.